Welcome back, and this week we are going to look at the 5 biggest things that I've learned on my journey so far. And it's interesting actually to look back and just think about all those things that you pick up along the way. So hope you enjoy this episode. Don't forget to stick around for the data and the graph, and again, thanks for your support along the way. Welcome to my journey. We're going to take this and train it to compete in this. Yes, you heard right. This fat, unfit, middle-aged man is going to compete in the Cairns Ironman Triathlon 2024. That's a 3.8k swim, 180k bike ride, and a 42k run. Well, hopefully run. Starting 60 weeks out, you can follow me and see if I've got what it takes to make it all the way. Every week we'll have a new episode, and you can see the highs and lows, all the tears, all the blood, all the sweat, and there'll be lots of sweat. I hope you join me and enjoy this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you do. We'll see you soon. Oh, and make sure if you see me out on the trail, say hi, give me some encouragement, or something like that. Well, that's 12 k's down again on a Sunday morning. Whew. It's certainly one way to get up a good sweat. I don't think I've ever sweated through my shorts, but there you go. So, no, it's a good run. Only not a fast run, but just again working on the kilometres more than anything. So now I'm going to go home and get that massage gun onto my calves because they are tight after a ride and a run this weekend. Whew. Well, that was a very light swim this morning, and I'm looking forward to getting a massage today because my back's been very tight for a few days. I don't really have any back problems or anything like that, but my muscles, because I sit at my desk all day as part of my job, I've always had, carried a bit of tension through my back, so I often need a massage, and now is one of those times. So I will enjoy that today, and but no, nice light swim, nothing too strenuous today, and then we're back into it tomorrow basically. Well, that's my Tuesday afternoon run done. A bit flat this afternoon. I still did the 6Ks, but certainly not with any kind of pace. So, but anyway, I did it. And believe me, after 500 meters in, I did not want to do any of it. But I got there. So, this week, I am talking about the 5 big things that I've learned basically since I started this process. And really, they're probably the biggest, and the first thing is hydration. I've always been a sweater. You can see, my cap is dripping with sweat right now. So I've always been a sweater. So I knew that hydration was important for me, but I never quite grasped exactly how important it was until I started this process. So, and also how difficult it is to understand your own hydration needs. So obviously we don't all come with a manual that says you need to drink 500 mils of hydrolytes per hour, you need to have 2 salt tablets. You don't get that, you don't know that when you start this process. So after many days of headaches after exercise and all sorts of issues that I've been through, I think I've finally figured out now what my hydration requirements are. Obviously, if you're fortunate enough to live somewhere that has a place that will do a sweat test for you, then that's the best option, because you can actually go and get a sweat test. You don't even have to exercise. They just put this little thing on your arm and measure how much salt you lose through your body, and It's quite amazing, really. And they will then tell you this is what the formula you should use when you're exerting yourself, when you're sweating. So I've kind of worked mine out. It's about 500 mils of hydrolytes per hour, and I take 2 salt tablets. And that seems to work well. Last time I did a 3-hour ride with that ratio, I was right as rain afterwards. And obviously I will keep monitoring that, and I have to see, it's winter here at the moment, even though it's in the tropics, so it's still hot in relative terms. But obviously as the temperature increases around where I live here in Townsville in Australia, it will be something else I'll have to monitor, and I don't know whether I'll have to increase it. I'm actually hoping to get down to Brisbane, where the nearest sweat test can be done at some point, and get an official read on my sweat. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. Hydration is certainly something you want to work out, but there really is no formula for it. You need to work out whether you're a heavy sweater. You can go to what's it called? Precision Hydration. On their website they have a little survey you can take, which will sort of tell you, without the official test, what sort of formula of hydration you should use, and that seems to be I've ordered some of their stuff to give it a test run to see how it works, because I may not need to take my salt tablets if I use their high. They've got a 1500 formulation that you can use for heavy sweaters like me. So I'm going to give that a try and see if that's an easier way, because obviously taking tablets every hour while you're riding and running and stuff, it's not always practical. I can't carry a whole box of tablets around with me when I do the Ironman, so I am looking for easier ways to manage my hydration. But that's probably the biggest thing that I've had to deal with. It certainly has the biggest flow-on effect to me physically, because if you don't hydrate properly, your body doesn't recover very well, and so it is a big deal to try and work out. And because you're talking about large quantities of exercise, you really need to be able to nail the whole hydration process, and learn how to monitor yourself, really. So that's the first thing. Just as an addition to that, in terms of hydration, probably the biggest thing I've actually learned is managing hydration before you work out. So I was always pretty good at making sure I drank enough, etc. But the biggest thing I've learned is that you can't go if you're going to go for a 3-hour ride in the morning, you need to make sure you hydrate the day before, in the afternoon and in the evening, so that you're not starting below the right levels. And I think so that for me that's the thing that I still struggle with a little bit, because I'll just forget that, because I'm not thirsty, I'm not you just got to make yourself hydrate properly before you're going to do it the next day, because you really can't have that kind of lag between when you decide to exercise and when you start hydrating. It's no good to do it after the fact. You need to start off hydrated. So that was a really big thing that I've learned in the hydration space as well. It's not just about while you're exercising, it's before you start. So another key to that first part of the puzzle. Well, that is my Wednesday morning swim done, 2.5 Ks. I'm not even sure what time it was, doesn't really matter, it's about normal. So I actually was almost going to go on and do 3, and because I felt really good. I actually feel like I'm not that far away from being able to swim the 3.8 kilometers required for the Ironman, especially in ocean, in the salt water. Not that I would swim it in a record time, but I feel like my body's, the swimming's coming along quite well, so I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. Well, lesson number 2 that I've learned is fuel. Fuel. Pretty much my rule of thumb now, which I've learned, is that if I'm going to do more than an hour's worth of exercise, then I need to either fuel up beforehand or have fuel with me when I do it. So like most of my morning stuff where I swim for an hour, ride for an hour, whatever, I don't worry about fueling for those things. But as soon as I go over that, I realised, I mean, I kind of always knew, but you know, you don't know how to do it when you've never needed to before. But now if I'm going to go for a 3-hour ride or whatever, I've got to have that fuel. And obviously, having done the triathlon now, I realised how important it is in that whole process as well. So I think, yeah, very important. So it's one thing to know that you need to fuel, figuring out what you should have and what works for your body and all of that sort of thing is a whole other story. So in terms of fuel for me, it's been a bit of trial and error. I think I've finally figured it out now, and I think it's different for everybody, obviously. Some people can just handle the paste, like the gels. It just makes me feel sick. So I have gone down the path of, you can get these, they're like lollies really, and bananas, nut bars, different things, more actual food. Now, maybe it's not as ideal, but I'm not trying to be a pro athlete. I just need to have enough fuel to get through. So, and it certainly leaves me feeling much nicer at the end. So, like the 3-hour ride I did the other day felt good. By the end of it, no problems whatsoever. So I think that's my balance, trying to keep the fuel up without going, you know, too far. But you can't have real food, obviously. Not like I can take a sandwich with me. Not that I'd want to anyway. Just like the old school days where you get to school and your sandwich is all transformed. So, number 3. Slow is fast. It's a different kind of process, but you can't rush this training program. Like, it just doesn't matter how mentally strong you are or not. It takes the time that it takes, and getting fitter is a cumulative process. It doesn't come in big jumps. It doesn't happen overnight. It really is an inch by inch journey. So it's just that simple. You have to set yourself goals, but you're not going to get them in days. It's going to take weeks, maybe months, depending on where you're starting from. And you have to accept that. Part of the mental process is just, you know, knowing that. And some days you go backwards. You know, everyone, we like to imagine that if we run 30-minute 5-kilometer block today, that we'll be able to do 29 minutes 55 tomorrow. But it doesn't work that way. Not even close, actually. But overall, as you can see from my graph, it still keeps coming down. And that's the bit that you want to remember. Slow gains gets you faster. So that was a key thing to learn, because if you try to rush yourself, try to push yourself too hard, you will end up with injuries. You'll get hurt, you'll have big problems, and you'll never get where you want to go. So slow is fast. So the fourth lesson, the fourth important thing I've learned, patience. Well, I'd like to say I've learned it, but it is something you have to accept. So let me explain. So as a person who's been overweight for quite some time, and really it's taken, took me 10 years to get the way that I was. And as much as we all want to believe that there's a fast way to change, there isn't. There's not a fast way to get fit. There's not a fast way to lose weight. There's not a fast way to change who you are if you want to change yourself. So patience is something that you have to learn. You have to come to terms with and accept that it took me 10 years to get this way, and if it takes me 18 months to fix it, then that's still a bargain. You might not want to accept that, but it's the truth, and that's what you have to deal with. And I think the sooner you can come to terms with that, the easier the journey is. You have to accept that, just like training, getting faster, it doesn't happen overnight. Losing weight doesn't happen overnight. Today you weigh 123, tomorrow you weigh 122, and then the day after you might weigh 123 again. You can't, as long as over a period of time it's going in the right direction, that's all you need to focus on. Be patient and understand that your body needs time to heal, needs time to get itself sorted out, and needs time to be able to realign itself. So, and that's just one of those things that, trust me, I've always been looking for the quick fix. I think ironically, it's one of the things that's made me successful in other aspects of my life, being able to figure out how to do things quickly and do them the lazy way, so to speak. But there are some things in life that you just cannot take a shortcut on, and losing weight and getting fit is one of those things. It just takes the time that it takes, and you have to accept that. And the last lesson is persistence. Not quitting. Never give up. That's an easy thing to say, but a much harder thing to put into practice. We all like to imagine we're persistent and that we don't quit, but the truth is that we quit things all the time. But if you want success in weight loss, in getting fit, in achieving your goals, you have to figure out how to dig up your own persistence. I don't think persistence is something you can learn from someone else. I don't think that it's a formula. I think you have to figure out where it comes from in you, and then figure out how to turn that tap on when you need it. I think one of the interesting, it's definitely an interesting book. If you haven't read it, you should read, or actually the audiobook version is really good, of David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me, because I think it's very true that what most of us think is pushing ourselves is about 40% of our capacity. There's a whole lot more of us available than we tap into. And if you want real success in life, you have to figure out how to go past that in all sorts of different ways. The good news is, I think, that persistence is something you can formulate as a habit. I think it's a state of mind, but it's also something you can just incorporate into your life. I don't know if they're just explaining that very well, but it is something that you can become, if that makes sense. But you've got to find it in yourself. There is no, you can't get it from outside yourself. You can't buy it at a shop. You won't find it in a book. You've got to figure out how to keep turning up every day. Because really, it's the only piece of advice that I really give to my kids, is that the only true secret to success is persistence. The people who win are the people who don't quit. It's really that simple. And whilst I've lived that life for a long time, in other parts of my life, I never really applied it to my fitness or that side of my life, which is stupid in essence, but it is, you know, it's what we are, isn't it, as humans? We can do it in one part of our life so well, and then in other parts it's just useless. So now I'm applying that level of persistence right across my life rather than just in one part of it. So they're the 5 big things that I've learned so far. I'm sure there'll be other lessons, and they're not the only things that I've learned, but they're probably, if you wanted to have 5 things, if you want to start a journey like this, those 5 things, if you can do them, you'll be well on your way. Well on your way. Well, it's Thursday morning and we're off for a ride. Really got to try and get a massage today. The old back is very stiff. I sound like an old man today. See you when we get back. Well, that was a good ride. 42 Ks. Pretty happy. Nice and, well, I wouldn't say easy. Medium. Let's call it a medium ride. Yeah, medium. That started off as a really good run, but got cramps at about 3 kilometers and not ideal, so it was a bit of a stop-start affair for the last few kilometers, but yeah, I don't know what caused that, but anyway, I guess sometimes shit just happens, doesn't it? So it's all good. Looks like it's gonna rain, so I think I finished my run just in time. I do love this look. Should have been a better swim this morning, but we only got 800 meters or something in. My neck is a bit sore. I had a massage yesterday, and because I breathe mostly to one side when I swim, I know I can hear you now, but it's not ideal. But anyway, getting it fixed, it'll be all good. Okay, in this week's little data update, there's really not anything to report. Not trying to set new records at the moment, just trying to get some kilometres in this week, and I think after we've done the house move, I might look at really trying to push some of these numbers, but I'm just going to continue on and see how we go. Thanks for watching this week. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope you enjoyed all of that knowledge that I've picked up along the way. I hope you can use it in your own journey. Look forward to seeing you next week when we prepare to move house, which is really not probably part of the episode, but we'll see how we go.